welcome everyone to another Journey of Riches interview. This is for book 5, and I am with Katrina Gulabovski. She is a counsellor. She has contributed to book number 3 in the series, Making Changes, which was launched December 2016. It is so awesome to catch up with you again and to have you contributing to another book, Katrina.
Hi, John. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to talk to you.
It's great, and you're always busy. You're a multitasker machine. It's incredible. I mean, that's a trait that not everyone able to do. They say that women definitely are much better than doing it at men, but I mean, you do so much. I mean, you have three children or 4? 3 children.
3 children, and I look after my mum.
Okay, so 4 children. And it's amazing, and you work, and you just finish studying, and you do a whole bunch of other things, and you're socialized as well. You have an amazing social life. How do you do it all?
I think it's when you have to do it, you'd be surprised what you can actually achieve. Yeah, when push comes to shove, you'd be surprised what a human is capable of doing. And I think just given the situation that I'm in, people are at different stages and phases of life. That's mine. And yeah, it's balance. It's balance. It's habits. It's self-discipline. It's everything that I've put in that chapter. I sort of live my words that I've contributed.
Yeah, it's true. You really do. And you're the first contribution that you made to Making Changes was a really heartfelt one. It was a challenging one. I was basically along that journey. We had weekly calls. We chatted all the time, all the way through that. What inspired you to write that?
Okay. When you asked me to do that, you helped me see of how what I've been through can actually help and contribute to someone's life. And that was that push forward, like, okay, I've lived that life and I struggled through it. And when you said, well, maybe that can make a difference in someone's life, that was when I thought, okay, I can do this, and let's do this. And I'm so grateful that I have. And I had you there weekly. You know what I went through emotionally, dealing with all of those block stored emotions, reliving, repacking the death of my brother and my father. And I thought, well, if I can somehow contribute, that was my contribution to that, to help someone else, to make a difference in someone's life.
That's awesome. And it was an amazing. You went through a lot just to share it and to relive certain aspects of it when you were writing it. Would you say it was a therapeutic process?
100%, because given my situation and my challenges of working, studying, looking after everybody else, I really didn't have any time to grieve, to really, really feel those blocked, stored emotions. And I had no idea what I signed up for, John. I took that project on. That was a long project, and I dealt with the emotions that I had no idea that I had.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what was the inspiration then for writing in this book? This book is going to be released the end of this month, 30th of September on Amazon. And it'll be available free for a 5-day period. What inspired you to write that? It was all about change, the 8 steps of change.
Well, I thought with my first contribution, that was more to how I dealt with grief and loss, and how that can help someone else, because I didn't have anyone in my life that could guide me, that can give me ideas. I had to reach out and access services that I didn't even know were available. But with my own research and experience, that's what I put there. So that was more like a memoir of what I've lived for the last 20-something years. And then this chapter, the next one, the 8 fundamentals of change, I just wanted to delve in a little bit deeper to help people with tools of how they can actually put things into application for themselves in their lives, for many various things. Like, it doesn't have to be just grief or loss. That was my first chapter. And the second chapter was, well, what else, how else can I be of service and add value to people's lives? That was a long project too. And again, I lived all of that and I put it into words, practices, again, to contribute, to help people. And yeah, that was another interesting project.
There was, yeah, I know. I remember having the discussion with you whether you should write it or not. Excuse me. It was a very, it was just one of those things where, you know, you're just tossing back and forth. Should I, shouldn't I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? And eventually you decided to contribute. So I really appreciate that. And it really goes into a lot of depth. And when you say that you lived it and breathed it, you really did. And you broke it down in a bite-sized chunk. If someone else finds themselves in that situation, then it's easy for them to digest. And it's very practical. So people can actually take that and actually apply it to their lives. And that's not easy to do that, to break down an aspect of your life and share it like that. But you know, you're a counsellor, you're there for people, you've been putting, as you said, putting people first for a long time. When did you make the change that, well, I need to actually start doing some things for Katrina?
I do things for Katrina given what I've got going. Like, that's where I spoke about in the first chapter, creating pockets or moments of joy. So I could be having a really stressful day, so much stuff going on, not just for me. I'm managing my kids. No, they're not young, but still, as a mother, they are my first priority. My values are my family. That's my highest value. So I always find a way throughout my day, whether it's 5 minutes or 20 minutes, just to stop wherever I am and just sit with myself. And if something's going on in my life, for example, I will always try as hard as I can to see the funny side of it. So I do have a sense of humor and I carry it with me all the time. And I find that being able to laugh about my situation or what I'm going through, as I self-reflect a lot. That's one of my disciplines. That's what I like to do for myself. And I always, if I laugh throughout the day or I find something funny, it's been a good day. Okay.
Just like before this call, we were all laughing at some jokes.
Yes. Yes.
And you definitely have a great sense of humor, that's for sure. And so why should someone read your chapter?
If my chapter would be based on, what do you want in your life? Like, where are you at? What do you want? And if you read through my chapter, the steps that I've written, the structure I've placed, the way I've structurized it, and you read, digest, absorb, and actually apply it. The magic is in the application, because we can read, we can go to seminars like I have, and I've done a lot of that. The magic is in the application. So if someone reads my chapter, they apply it step by step, or whatever aspects they'd like to change in their lives, they can do it. Just with that structure alone, they will be able to go through it, do it. However, I emphasized in there, having a mentor or a coach or a counselor, anyone to talk to help shift the habits, shift the beliefs, because we're all human. No matter who you are in life, no matter how much money you have, what title you have, it doesn't matter. We're human. We're going through some changes in life. It is what it is. And yeah, I really recommend anyone to have someone in their life that they can go to, talk to, speak about their struggles, process whatever's going on, and it will help. if someone took it on and they actually wanted to change their lives, that's how I've designed the chapter.
Yeah, and it's I totally agree. And I was also thinking, because the level of where you're at in that point in time of your life and how you actually had, it's almost like, you're faced with this huge, big, giant chocolate elephant, and it's like, you got to eat this chocolate elephant. Where do you start? And you start with a toenail. I mean, it's bite by bite, right? And I think that's really what your chapter breaks it down and simplifies it. I think that we have, as human beings, we have a tendency to complicate our circumstances when actually the solution can be a lot easier if you take it one step at a time. And as I'm saying that, hopefully, because I think I said step by step 2 or 3 times, hopefully the Backstreet Boys song isn't playing in your mind.
Yeah, I do think of that. I do, step by step. It is. It's a step-by-step process, whatever. Yeah. We live in a process-orientated world. So if anything we want, it takes steps. It takes processes. It takes slowly moving through whatever you need to move through, wherever you're at.
Yeah. And that's what I really appreciate about it. It's like, oh, yeah, I can follow this. It's like, you just break it down into manageable steps. And before you know it, bit by bit, bite by bite, whatever it is that you're faced with, you can get through it. And
yes,
amazing. Yes. And you also had other people involved in the equation that you had to manage as well. 3 children, your father, your mother at different times. So it was impressive what you went through, very inspiring what you went through, and you lived to tell the tale. I mean, who would have thought?
Yes.
Because there's moments when I
first spoke to you, it was like, can I do it? Can I really do it? And now looking at the end of these both contributions, I did. And I'm really grateful for your help. Yeah, I'm really humble. It's like, wow. It's been a very interesting journey.
Yeah, it certainly has. And it's for anyone that reads your chapter as well, that is right in it, is in the divine storm. You mentioned that in your chapter, that you went through a divine storm, and not to give too much away, of course, but there's, your chapter will really help someone to get out of that stickiness and messiness that, sometimes we find ourselves in. And, when you're in that, it's like, almost like you can't find a way out. And to read someone else's story and experience that's been through that can make a huge difference. So that was definitely what I gleaned from your chapter. I know it can make a difference to other people that find themselves in a situation where they don't ask for a particular change, but they kind of feel like it's almost forced on them, and they have to adapt. And sometimes we don't see the big picture, right? That had to happen so we could step into the person that we've been asking to be. And I saw that, and I've seen you do that, and it's really inspiring.
Thank you. And I didn't plan on my father getting dementia, for example, but that 5 years that I spent helping him to live as long as he could and be with us, that's where I learned that pockets of joy, just little moments throughout the day. And because we're not here for a long time. We don't know when our number's up. Seriously, like when we get real, nothing's guaranteed. Tomorrow's not guaranteed for anybody.
And it's true. Life is very precious. Very precious. And so what advice, just like one tip, would you give someone that finds themselves in a change, in a personal change? What advice would you give them?
You can do it. It's doable. It just depends on where you're at and what do you want. What do you want? And how are you going to get there? From it's A to B. It's like, when you're in that dark storm with your wind in that thick, foggy place and you don't know how to get out of it, it's wanting to change first. You have to have that desire or that inner strength to want to change your life. change is not easy. It's not easy for anybody on this planet. However, if you have that desire, you don't like where you're at, you don't like what's going on, that's the push forward. And we're all faced with it. We're all faced with situations that we may not like, and we can change it. It's going within yourself. It's self-reflection. It's self-discipline. It's everything to do with the self of where am I? What don't I like? What would I like to change about my life? And you take that first step forward.
I like it. And I mean, you've written two chapters in 2 books in this series. How would you like to be remembered?
With my contributions, if someone reads them and really applies them, it's about I'm glad to be here, knowing that somehow in some way I've touched, moved, or inspired somebody. Because if I can do what I've done in those 2 chapters, anyone can do it, slowly. With grace and ease, anything's doable. A lot of things are possible. You just have to believe first in yourself. So yeah, if I was on my deathbed tomorrow, for example, and I look back, I can say, yeah, I'm glad I went through what I went through. Long projects. It was, and I went through hell and back. However, it's like, yeah, if I have touched, moved, or inspired someone in some way to make a difference, that's it. I'm done. I'm happy.
It's been worthwhile.
100%.
That's awesome. And just before we wrap up, did your children read both your chapters?
The books that I have were left with my children. They have not read my books because they're looking at mum kind of going, what is she doing? What is she doing? But I love them. They love me. They're very supportive. The second book hasn't come out yet, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, true, yeah.
The first one, my middle daughter has read it, yes, and my other 2 haven't. But you know what? All in divine timing. When they're ready, they will read it. Yeah. So it's all about the divine timing.
Yes, nice. So that's a healthy outlook to have, and it's super exciting to launch the book. It's launching at the end of this month. As a free download for 5 days, and so personal changes, people can get your chapter and read your story.
Yes,
well,
and I hope they do.
Yes, and I really appreciate your persistence and soldiering on when things were challenging and you stuck to your guns, and it's just amazing the different things that you've been through, and people can read all the details, everything that you went through, and came out the other side. So yeah, it's really inspiring, and you live and breathe it. You practice what you preach, and that's awesome.
And thank you, John. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for helping me shift my perspective and views when I did feel stuck. So yeah, you've been a pillar of strength in my life as well.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. It's awesome to see someone turn up and show up and willing to do whatever it takes to share a meaningful message.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I'll see you when I see you.
Yes. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Nice to talk to you.
Bye.
Bye.